So you want your business to be discoverable on Google? Did you know that over 77,000 Google searches happen per second? That's over 5.4 billion searches per day.
Wow.
In 2021, I brought in about 5,000 potential clients from my website from Google alone. While that's small compared to a lot of larger brands like Adventure Instead, that can make a massive difference in lead generation for a solo photographer like myself. Have you ever wondered how other photographers show up on Google, but you don't? Especially on that front page? Well, they're optimizing their website and blog posts for search engine optimization, enabling them to rank on that front page when yours doesn't. Let's jump into how to beat the competition and snag the spot on the top of the list. Disclaimer, if anyone tells you that you can rank on Google overnight, they're lying to you. Not only is it difficult, but you also have to be strategic about how you're going to do it. It takes time for Google to crawl and analyze and build trust in your website. So what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. We want to optimize our blog posts for Google or other search engines, so we have a higher chance of landing on the first page of Google. When most people search a term on Google, they stop on that front page. They really don't go any further, so that's where we want to be. What is the ROI of strong SEO? For photographers, ranking on Google is the best way to organically send traffic to your website. It's even better than paid ads in my opinion, and it's free. It just takes some time. Step 1. Research your keywords for your photography business. You're going to want to be pretty strategic about your keyword. That's the term your ideal client is going to be typing into the search bar. So instead of having general terms like photographer, you're going to want to make it more local to your business to start out, such as Colorado wedding photographer to start. However, the more micro you can get in the beginning, the better. That's because Colorado wedding photographer is still going to be pretty highly competitive in your market. Focus on your niche and consider a venue or more specific location to start, such as I like Sapphire Point elopement. The more specific, the less competitive it will be, and you'll be more likely to start ranking in that. Note, the more specific places will drive a little less traffic than your common keywords, but you really have to start small so you can work your way up and compete with the bigger keywords and competitors as you build your rapport with Google. There are 2 free tools that you can use daily to research your topic or keyword. Note, they are paid services, so you can only do a limited number of free searches every day, so use them wisely. The first website is Ubersuggest by Neil Patel. In this website, search your initial keyword. Ubersuggest will then populate related searches. It will tell you the volume of each search and a metric for how difficult it will be to rank on the front of Google page for that topic. For today's example, we will utilize the keyword Colorado elopement, just for practice. In section 1, keywords, this has generated other keywords using the same keyword phrase you entered or similar. In section 2, volume, this gives you an idea of the search volume of that specific keyword. The higher, the more often it is searched. Section 3 and 4, CPC and paid difficulty. CPC is the cost per click, or how much companies are spending each time someone clicks on their advertisement. PD is paid difficulty of the term. This is not relevant to you when writing your blog. Section 5, SEO difficulty. SE is SEO difficulty. The color of the box and the number indicates how difficult it will be to compete against others for a high ranking position on Google with your keyword. The lower the number, the easier. The higher the number, the more difficult. Green indicates easy keywords with the low difficulty. Yellow is harder. Orange and red are the most difficult. As a rule of thumb, I always start with the lowest hanging fruit and knock off the easier keywords first, and then work towards the more difficult phrases. The second website is Answer the Public. Similar to Ubersuggest, Answer the Public helps you understand what people are actively Googling related to your keywords. This gives you a different kind of visual though to understand how people make Google searches. While it doesn't tell you SEO difficulty, the opacity of the green circle next to it gives you a better idea of search volume. How do we use this information? For our blog post on Colorado elopement, from our research, here we know their difficulty is ranked about 25, which is relatively easy, and similar keywords are also not very competitive. That means our blog post has a high chance of ranking on Google. This also gives us a better idea of what to include in our blog post. From our search results, I would include sections with the following as headers: Colorado elopement packages, Colorado elopement locations, Colorado elopement laws, and so forth and so on. These can also each be their own blog posts with a parent blog linking to them all. Step 2, determine how long your blog post needs to be. While you're writing for a human reader, you also want to write to please Google. It's an evil balance. There are a few ways to achieve this. The first is the length of your blog. While a longer blog post doesn't really dictate whether your information is better, in most cases, Google ranks these ones a little bit higher, meaning if your blog post is longer than your competitors, then you have a higher chance of ranking on the top 3. So we always assume that the longer the content, the better when creating it. You'll want to Google search the term Colorado elopement, click on the first 2 or 3 results, and copy that content and paste it into wordcounter.net. So Google prefers a certain structure for their actual content. Here are the general rules to follow. Only use an H1 tag for the title of the blog post. I use H2 tags for subheaders in the text, and you need to break up every 300 words with an H2 tag. If you have 600 plus words, you need to break this up. The average reader, it helps them scan when you do this, and it's not just for Google, but it helps. Use your keywords in your H2 headers, repeat your keywords in your text as well, as much as you can, but not overstuffing. Use synonyms of your keyword because Google's smarter than you think it is. Include links to other websites where you may have found information. And when you're including images, which you should, title each with your keyword prior to uploading. Include internal links. This means links to other pages on your website. All right, step 4, optimize your blog images. Google reads all information your images contain, such as metadata and the image name. There are a few things you'll want to do. Title the image with your keyword and variations of it. Change the metadata also in Lightroom. This can be altered, and Google will even pick up the location information from your photos. You don't have to do this, but if it is keyword specific and pertains to the location, this will help a ton. If you're uploading the blog post yourself, make sure to change the alt text to relate to your keyword. Step 5, add a table of contents. If you've created a very long piece, you may want to consider adding a table of contents at the top that links to the specific sections. Lay out your H2 headers as your table of contents. If you've made related YouTube videos, add them. Make sure the same keyword is in the title or similar keywords. That will help you as well. Step number 7, I'm gonna go over some things that I don't think a lot of people do or know. For instance, they're just brownie points. If you have the opportunity to have a table on your blog post with some kind of collected data, even though you're a photographer, do that. Google likes concise things also in that format. Step 8, repeat. Write more photography blogs. The more content and keywords you have, the better. I really honestly jump-started my blog when we were in those quarantine months. I wrote 26 blogs in 1 month, and then every other month I followed up with 3 or 4. Now, don't do what I did. I was kind of obsessed with checking the stats constantly. That wasn't really helpful because it takes a ton of time. I think it took 6 months before I actually saw a jump in any progress, and it kind of snowballs after that, but just don't look, just keep writing. Step 9, we're gonna find other websites and vendors that will backlink to you. So there's a lot more that goes into SEO than we've talked about in this one video. This is just the beginning. There's also like stuff like domain authority. And what domain authority is it's how much Google trusts your website on a scale of 0 to 100. And this number is dictated by the amount of websites backlinking, so that's just a link to yours. The more trusted they are by Google, the higher their domain authority, the more value their vote has for your website. So right now mine's relatively low because I haven't worked on this and I've lost some links because your score can go down. But the more you get, the higher it gets. This is very hard to achieve, but it helps you rank much more easily on Google. Find similar vendors like a DJ, anybody who you've networked with that you can give them photos and they can link back to you really helps. Step 10, play the waiting game and make revisions. So ranking on Google really doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of hard work and time. After a few months, I'll peek at my scores on SEMrush and the Hoth to see how I'm ranking. If the blog post or the page is close to ranking on the front page of Google and say anywhere between the 10th and 20th position, I'll go and update that content and add to it so it gets extra boost. It needs to be competitive. A couple things you should note. It's gonna take time, it's gonna be hard, but it's really worth all the effort in the long run. I have all of the links provided below to all of the tools I talked about. They all have free versions for you to utilize. So that was Ubersuggest, the Hoth, Answer the Public, and SEMrush. I really love these 4 tools. There's more out there, of course, like Google Trends, Google Analytics, but I think these are the 4 most beneficial free tools I've utilized. Tell me how your journey goes, tell me if this helped you, and let me know what other information I can help you for SEO. I'm Cassandra Vager, and I'm here to help you grow. In order to do that, smash the subscribe button.